My name is Daniel Foster, 22 years old, and on the surface, I look like any other young man just trying to get through life without making too much noise. To most people, friends from college, co-workers at the small marketing firm where I recently started, even my girlfriend Emma, I'm ordinary, reliable, maybe even a little boring. But what no one knows, what I've kept buried for as long as I can remember, is that I've always been fascinated by what it might feel like to look like someone else entirely. To slip into a world where Daniel Foster wasn't just another young man in jeans and hoodies, but someone softer, prettier, someone who could pass for a girl. It started small, almost innocent. As a kid, I'd catch myself staring at my sister's closet when she wasn't around. Her clothes, delicate skirts, flowing dresses, the shimmer of her heels, looked like they belonged to another world, one that seemed forbidden yet magnetic. I never dared to touch them back then. My sister, Michelle, was 3 years older than me, popular, confident, the kind of girl who could walk into any room and have all eyes follow her. I was the quiet shadow trailing behind. Now, years later, Michelle had moved out for college, and her old bedroom, still lined with forgotten hangers and boxes, had become a silent temptation. Every time I passed her door, I wondered, what if? But I never acted on it. Not really. I told myself I couldn't. Emma, my girlfriend of a year and a half, was everything I thought I wanted. Kind, supportive, smart. She had this sharp wit that could cut through any tension, and a smile that made the hardest days easier. Yet, being with her also amplified the weight of my secret. I loved her, but I was terrified of what she'd think if she ever saw me differently. Would she laugh? Leave? Worse, would she never look at me the same way again? The thought haunted me, especially at night, when I was alone in my room. That evening, the house was quiet. My parents were away visiting relatives for the weekend. Michelle was gone for good, and Emma was at her friend's place for the night. I sat on the edge of my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, but I wasn't paying attention to the glowing screen. My thoughts kept circling back to that closet, to the chance sitting right down the hall. Nobody was home. Nobody would know. I tried to fight it, tried to tell myself it was ridiculous, dangerous even. But then, out of sheer impulse, I stood up. My heartbeat thudded in my ears as I walked slowly toward Michelle's old room, every step echoing like a drumbeat. The door creaked open, and the smell of old perfume hit me, a faint sweetness mixed with dust. Inside, the closet doors loomed. My hands shook as I pulled them open. And there they were, her dresses, skirts, and blouses, still hanging neatly as though she'd only stepped out yesterday. At the bottom, a box of her old heels. On the shelf, a small makeup bag with faded lipsticks and compacts. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. My rational side screamed at me to close the door and walk away. But another voice, the one I had been ignoring for years, whispered, just once. Try it. Nobody has to know. Before I could second-guess myself, I reached out and touched one of the dresses. The fabric slid across my fingers, soft and cool. I pulled it off the hanger and held it against me, staring into the full-length mirror Michelle had left behind. For the first time, I didn't see just Daniel. I saw the possibility of something else. A nervous laugh escaped me. My pulse raced. My hands trembled as I slipped out of my t-shirt and jeans, leaving myself in only boxers. Sliding into Michelle's dress felt like crossing a line I could never return from. The zipper was a little stubborn, but when I finally pulled it up, the garment hugged my body in ways I never expected, loose in some places, snug in others, transforming me into something unrecognizable. I stood there frozen, staring at the mirror. The figure staring back didn't look like me. Not entirely. My chest was flat, my hair messy, my jaw sharp, but the dress added a strange softness I had never seen before. I tilted my head, lifted my chin, and for a split second, I almost believed it. That's when my eyes drifted to the makeup bag. No, I whispered aloud, shaking my head. But my body didn't listen. My hands reached for it, pulling out a small compact with powder, a lipstick, and an eyeliner pencil. I had no idea what I was doing, but my curiosity burned hotter than my fear. Carefully, awkwardly, I dabbed some powder across my face, smudged the eyeliner across my lashes, and pressed the lipstick clumsily to my lips. When I looked back at the mirror, my heart nearly stopped. The person staring back wasn't Daniel Foster anymore. My reflection was messy, imperfect, but undeniably different. A girl. A stranger. Someone who could walk outside right now and maybe, just maybe, not be recognized. And that realization hit me like lightning. My breathing quickened. My legs shook beneath me. It wasn't just playing dress-up anymore. It was something far more powerful, far more dangerous. Because for the first time in my life, I looked like a girl. And for the first time, I realized how much I wanted to. But even in that moment of dizzying discovery, fear crept in. What if Emma came home early? What if a neighbor saw me through the window? What if anyone found out? I froze, listening to the silence of the house. Every creak of the walls, every gust of wind outside felt amplified, as though the universe itself was warning me, "You're crossing a line that can't be uncrossed." And yet I didn't stop. That night would change everything. I sat there, staring at my reflection, unable to breathe. The girl in the mirror wasn't polished or perfect, but she was real enough that if someone walked into the room right now, they might pause, squint, and wonder where Daniel had gone. My pulse pounded in my ears, and my hands trembled as I traced my fingers over the soft fabric of the dress, over the painted lips that didn't quite look like mine anymore. "This is crazy," I whispered, but the sound of my own voice felt foreign. Too deep. Too harsh. It didn't belong to the girl in the mirror. The contrast made me shiver. I ran my hands down my sides, feeling the cling of the fabric. The skirt brushed against my thighs, a gentle whisper that made me acutely aware of my body in a way I never had before. The eyeliner smudged at the corner of my eye, the lipstick slightly crooked, but somehow that only added to the illusion. My chest tightened, not with panic, but with something closer to longing. For the first time in my life, I wasn't looking at Daniel Foster, the quiet boy who blended into the background. I was looking at someone else. Someone freer. Someone beautiful, if only I dared to believe it. I stepped closer to the mirror, tilting my head, imagining what Emma would say if she saw me like this. Would she laugh? Would she scream? Or would she recognize me at all? The thought made me stumble back, heart racing.
Emma.
Her name alone was enough to snap me back to reality. She was supposed to be out with her friends until late, but what if she changed her mind? What if she walked through the door right now and saw me like this? The idea both thrilled and terrified me. I forced myself to breathe, slow and steady, but my reflection kept drawing me back in. I twirled once, awkwardly, the hem of the dress flaring just slightly. The movement sent a jolt of excitement through me, and I bit back a laugh that came out more like a gasp. It was dangerous, addictive, and I didn't want it to stop. I reached back into the closet, my hands brushing over more dresses, skirts, even a blouse with delicate lace sleeves. My fingers trembled as I lifted one hanger after another, imagining what each piece would feel like against my skin. Before I knew it, I had a small pile on the bed, options I never thought I'd allow myself to consider. I sat down, clutching one of Michelle's old wigs. It was long, chestnut brown, slightly tangled from years of neglect. I slipped it onto my head, adjusting it clumsily until the strands fell over my shoulders. The effect was startling. The boy was gone. Now, staring back at me, was a girl who looked possible. I bit my lip, tasting the faint smear of lipstick, my stomach fluttering with nervous energy. Every second felt stolen, borrowed, as though time itself would betray me if I stayed in this fantasy too long. The sound of my phone buzzing snapped me out of the trance. I nearly jumped out of the chair, scrambling to grab it from the nightstand. The screen lit up with Emma's name. My breath caught in my throat. For a moment, I didn't move, paralyzed by the thought that somehow she knew, that she could see me through the phone, through the walls, through the secrets I had built. Finally, with trembling hands, I answered. "Hey," I managed, my voice cracking. "Hey you," Emma said cheerfully on the other end. "What are you up to?" My eyes flicked to the mirror. The wig, the smudged makeup, the dress hugging my body. My heart raced. Nothing much, I stammered. Just hanging out at home. You? She laughed softly. Yeah, me too. Plans changed, everyone bailed, so I think I'll just head back early. Maybe we can watch a movie or something. My blood turned to ice. Early. She was coming home early. I glanced at the clock on the nightstand. It was barely past 9. That meant she could be here in 20 minutes. Maybe less. Oh, I said, my voice higher than usual, almost squeaky. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Emma didn't notice.
Great.
I'll see you soon. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my entire body shaking. My reflection in the mirror looked back at me, terrified now, lips parted, eyes wide. I looked like a stranger caught in a crime. God, I whispered, clutching the wig and yanking it off. What have I done? I bolted to the closet, shoving the dresses back onto their hangers, fumbling with the zippers, my hands slipping with sweat. The makeup bag spilled onto the floor, lipstick rolling under the bed. I cursed under my breath, scrambling to gather everything, shoving it into the box as though erasing the evidence would erase the truth. But the mirror wouldn't lie. The eyeliner still smeared around my eyes, the lipstick staining my mouth, the faint trace of perfume clinging to the dress. My skin burned with the effort of peeling it off, as if the fabric didn't want to let me go. And deep down, I didn't want to let it go either. But Emma couldn't see me like this. Not now. Maybe not ever. By the time I managed to stuff everything back into the closet and pull on my jeans and t-shirt, my chest was heaving, sweat dripping down my back. I stumbled into the bathroom, scrubbing at my face with soap and water, but the eyeliner clung stubbornly, leaving faint shadows beneath my eyes. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway made me freeze. Headlights cut across the window. Emma was home, and I wasn't ready. I couldn't stop staring at the mirror. The first glimpse I had gotten of myself in Michelle's old dress was enough to ignite something dangerous inside me. But now, with the wig adjusted more carefully, the makeup touched up as best as I could manage, and the soft lighting from my desk lamp casting shadows across my cheekbones, the reflection staring back wasn't just me trying to play pretend. It looked real. The dress clung to me in ways that made my body feel foreign, like I was inhabiting someone else's skin. Every brush of the fabric whispered a secret against my thighs. Every flick of the wig across my cheek pulled me deeper into the fantasy. My heart thudded in my chest, too loud, as though the entire house could hear it. I raised my hand, brushing the strands of brown hair behind my ear. The motion felt practiced, even though I'd never done it before. It was frightening how natural it seemed. I shouldn't, I muttered, my voice breaking the illusion. Too deep. Too heavy. But when I tilted my head, softened my gaze, and let my lips curl into a tentative smile, the girl in the mirror smiled back. Not perfect. Not flawless. But convincing enough that a stranger might not look twice. The thrill was electric. I stepped back, grabbing a pair of Michelle's heels from the corner of the closet. They were slightly scuffed, probably from a school dance years ago. My palms were sweating as I slipped one foot inside, then the other. The heels forced me upright, arching my posture, making my legs look different, slimmer, longer, more delicate. I took a cautious step, wobbling, clutching the dresser for balance. The click of the heel on the hardwood floor sent a shiver through me. Each sound was like a drumbeat announcing the arrival of someone new. I tried again. Another step. Then another. By the fourth, I was almost walking. Almost. A laugh bubbled out of me, nervous but genuine. I pressed my hand to my chest, trying to calm the rapid thumping of my heart. I didn't want this to stop. I didn't want to peel off the dress, wipe away the makeup, shove the wig back in the box. For the first time in a long time, I felt alive. But the danger was always there, pressing at the edges of my joy.
Emma.
She thought she was dating Daniel, the quiet, reliable guy who always played it safe. She didn't know about the parts of me I kept locked away. The nights I'd sat awake imagining what it would be like to live as someone else, to shed the weight of who I was supposed to be. Would she understand? Or would she look at me with disgust? The thought made me wince. I sat down on the edge of the bed, trying to catch my breath. The hem of the dress slid up my thighs as I moved, and I quickly pulled it down again, cheeks burning even though no one was watching. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, startling me. I lunged for it, my heart leaping into my throat.
Emma.
I froze, staring at her name on the screen. For a second, I considered letting it go to voicemail, but that would raise questions. With shaking hands, I swiped to answer. "Hey," I said, my voice low, praying she couldn't hear the panic. "Hey you," Emma said warmly. "What are you up to?" I glanced at my reflection. The dress, the wig, the makeup. My throat went dry. Nothing. Just home, you know?" "Yeah," she replied. "Listen, plans got canceled. Everyone bailed on me. I think I'll just come back early if that's cool." My entire body froze. "Early? How early?" I asked, my voice cracking. "I'm leaving now. Shouldn't take me more than 20 minutes. Maybe we can order food and watch something?" 20 minutes. That was all I had to erase everything, to hide the evidence, to make sure she never saw this side of me. "Yeah, sounds great," I forced out, praying she couldn't hear the tremor in my voice. "Perfect. See you soon." The call ended. I dropped the phone onto the bed and scrambled to my feet. Panic surged through me as I yanked at the wig, tossing it onto the mattress. The dress clung stubbornly as I fumbled with the zipper, my hands slick with sweat. My chest rose and fell in frantic gasps, every second slipping through my fingers like sand. I managed to peel the dress off, tossing it onto the pile of clothes in the closet. My jeans and t-shirt felt rough and heavy as I pulled them on, like armor I didn't want to wear. I dashed to the bathroom, scrubbing at my face with soap and water, trying to smear away the traces of eyeliner and lipstick. But the mirror betrayed me. My eyes were still ringed with faint smudges, my lips faintly tinted. No matter how hard I scrubbed, the evidence lingered. A car door slammed outside. I froze, water dripping from my chin, my hands gripping the sink. Emma was home. The sound of the front door unlocking was like a gunshot in Daniel's chest. He froze, every muscle stiff, his heart hammering so loudly he thought it would give him away. The echo of the key turning, the creak of the hinges, he knew those sounds.
Emma.
She was home. No, she wasn't supposed to be home. She had hours left on her shift.
Hours.
Daniel's eyes darted to the clock on the wall. Barely past 4 p.m. She should have been at the cafe until 9. His throat went dry, his hands trembling against the silken fabric of the skirt he wore. He could feel the sticky tug of lip gloss on his lips every time he opened his mouth to suck in a panicked breath. His reflection in the hallway mirror caught him as he turned. A stranger stared back, long brown wig brushing against slim shoulders, eyeliner smudged slightly but still passable, the blush on his cheeks making his face soft, almost innocent. The skirt hugged his hips too well, the blouse a little too sheer, and the heels, God, the heels, clicked softly against the hardwood floor as he took an uncertain step. He didn't look like Daniel anymore. He looked like someone else. The sound of Emma's footsteps reached him before her voice did. She was humming, casual, cheerful, completely unaware of the storm that was about to erupt. Panic surged through him. He had seconds, maybe less, before she saw him. His brain scrambled for options. Run upstairs? No, the stairs were too close to the entryway. She'd see him. Hide in the bathroom? Too far. She'd catch him halfway there. Strip out of the clothes? Impossible. Too many layers. The makeup would give him away even if he managed. There was no escape. The kitchen door swung open. Emma stepped inside, her bag slung over her shoulder, a few strands of hair stuck to her forehead from the afternoon heat. She stopped mid-step, the hum dying on her lips. Her eyes found him instantly. For a long, terrible moment, the world stood still. Daniel couldn't breathe. Emma's brows pinched together in confusion, then arched higher as recognition flickered across her face. But it wasn't recognition of her brother, it was recognition of something else. A woman. Hi. Her voice tilted upward, uncertain, like she wasn't sure what, or who, she was talking to. Daniel's lips parted, but nothing came out. His voice was trapped behind the gloss and the fear and the sudden awareness that this was it. This was the moment everything collapsed. Emma blinked, stepping closer, squinting at him as if trying to piece together a puzzle. Wait a second, Daniel? The name landed like a blade. He flinched, instinctively hugging his arms around himself, as though he could fold the image away, erase what she saw. But the clothes clung to him, the makeup painted him into someone else, and there was no undoing it. Her eyes widened, her mouth parting in disbelief. Oh my God, it is you. Her tone wasn't angry, not yet. It was shocked, teetering between horror and fascination. Daniel swallowed hard, his throat aching. And I can explain. The words felt pitiful, thin, useless. Emma dropped her bag on the counter with a loud thud. The sound made him jump. She didn't move any closer at first, just stared at him from across the room, taking him in piece by piece. The wig, the skirt, the heels. Her gaze lingered on his legs, the stockings smoothing over them too perfectly. Finally, she stepped forward, slowly, almost cautiously. You're dressed. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The truth was painted all over him. Daniel's chest rose and fell quickly, his breath catching with each attempt to form words. I was just playing dress up, she cut in, her tone sharp but not cruel, more like she was testing him. He closed his eyes for a moment, shame burning through his veins. Please, Emma, just don't freak out. She let out a small laugh, disbelieving, nervous. Don't freak out? You're standing here in full-on makeup and heels, and you're telling me not to freak out. Daniel wanted the floor to swallow him whole. His legs wobbled in the heels, and he gripped the edge of the table for balance, feeling the gloss on his lips dry and crack under the weight of his silence. But Emma wasn't leaving. She wasn't storming out or screaming. Instead, she tilted her head, her gaze narrowing, curious now. Why? She asked softly. The single word was more dangerous than a shout. Daniel froze. His mind spun with excuses, jokes, dares, pranks, but none of them would survive under Emma's gaze. She would see through them all. His voice shook as he tried to answer. I don't know. I wanted to see what it felt like. Emma's lips pressed into a thin line, but she didn't look away. Her eyes searched his face, then drifted down to the skirt again, the way it hugged him. You don't look like you just threw something on, she said finally. This took time. The makeup, the wig. Daniel, this isn't an accident. Heat rose to his cheeks, blending with the blush already there. He couldn't meet her eyes. She stepped even closer, close enough now that he could smell her perfume, warm vanilla and faint coffee. Her presence pressed against him, demanding truth. Say something, she whispered. Daniel's lips trembled. He tried to hold on to his old self, to the boy who never wanted to be seen like this. But standing there, wrapped in silk and gloss, he realized he couldn't. Not anymore. His voice cracked. He forced the words out anyway. I like it. Emma blinked, stunned. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Then she let out a long breath, shaking her head slowly, almost in disbelief. But instead of recoiling, she did something Daniel never expected. She smiled. Not a cruel smile, not mocking. Something in between, amused, curious, and a little dangerous. Well then, she murmured, stepping back just slightly. Show me. Daniel's heart stuttered. What? Emma crossed her arms, her eyes never leaving him. If you like it so much, show me.
Walk. Talk.
Be whoever it is you're trying to be. The words landed like a challenge, a trap, and an invitation all at once. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. This was no longer about hiding. This was about proving. And if he failed, if he cracked, it wouldn't just be embarrassment. It would be exposure forever. He tightened his grip on the table, heels wobbling, pulse racing. This was it. The moment that would change everything. Daniel's throat tightened at Emma's words. Show me. His knees felt weak in the heels, his palms damp with sweat. The idea of performing, of acting like the woman he'd just created in the mirror, was terrifying. But Emma's eyes pinned him in place. She wasn't going to let him brush this off with excuses. The silence stretched, and Daniel realized there was no way out. He had to do something. His heart pounded as he shifted his weight and took a step forward. The heel clicked sharply against the floor. He wobbled slightly, but he caught himself before stumbling. Another step, then another. Each one was heavy with dread, but at the same time, a strange flutter filled his chest, like electricity coursing through his veins. Emma's gaze followed him, her expression unreadable. "You've practiced," she said quietly. Daniel froze mid-step. "What?" Her arms were still crossed, but there was no anger in her voice, only observation. "You're not just throwing those shoes on for the first time.
You're walking in them."
Not perfectly, but you've practiced." The words hit him like cold water. She was right. He had practiced. Not often, not enough, but there had been other stolen moments, hidden trials when curiosity got the better of him. His voice cracked. "Maybe once or twice." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Once or twice, huh?" Daniel looked away, shame boiling beneath his skin. Emma stepped closer again, circling him now, her eyes roaming over him like she was appraising something she wasn't sure how to value yet. Daniel could feel the weight of her stare on his back, his arms, his legs. He fought the urge to fold into himself. Finally, she stopped in front of him again. "Turn." His breath caught. "What?" She gestured with her hand, impatient. "Turn around. Like you're showing me." Daniel's entire body burned with humiliation, but his feet moved anyway. He turned slowly, the skirt swishing softly against his thighs. Emma let out a low whistle.
"Wow."
The sound made him snap his head up, panic flooding his chest. Don't make fun of me." Her lips curved into that same dangerous smile from before. "Who says I'm making fun?" His breath faltered. Emma tilted her head, studying him again. Then, almost playfully, she reached out and tugged lightly on the edge of his wig. "This is actually kind of good. You did all of this by yourself." Daniel nodded weakly. "Why, yeah." Her eyes glittered. Not bad. The compliment, however casual, made his heart lurch. But it also terrified him more than anything else. Because if she wasn't dismissing him, if she was taking him seriously, then what did that mean? Emma stepped back, her arms falling to her sides. "So, what's her name?" Daniel blinked. "Her what?" Emma smirked. "Her name. The girl you're dressed as. Don't tell me you went through all this trouble and didn't even think about who you were supposed to be." Daniel's face flushed hot. He hadn't thought that far. To him, this had always been just moments of stolen fantasy, never something that required definition. But now, with Emma demanding it, he felt trapped. I don't know," he whispered. Emma's smile widened. "Then let's think of one." "No, Emma, please." She ignored his protest, tapping a finger against her lips as though pondering something serious. You look like a
Claire.
Or maybe a Sophie. Something soft. Feminine." Daniel's stomach flipped. "Stop it." Emma's gaze snapped back to him, sharp.
"Why?"
"Isn't this what you wanted? To look like a girl?" Her words cut, not because they were cruel, but because they were true. He swallowed hard, unable to deny it. Emma's voice softened again, coaxing. "So, what's it going to be? Who are you right now?" Daniel's breath came in short bursts. His mind screamed at him to resist, to fight, to cling to the last threads of his old self. But his reflection in the glass cabinet behind Emma betrayed him. A girl stared back. Not Daniel. Someone else. "Claire," he whispered, the name tumbling out before he could stop it. Emma's eyes lit up with triumph.
"Claire."
"I like that." Daniel's chest constricted. Hearing it spoken aloud was like sealing something permanent. Emma stepped closer, her voice low and steady. "Say it. Say, I'm Claire." His lips trembled. He shook his head, a silent plea. Emma's eyes narrowed. "Say it." The command left no room for escape. Daniel closed his eyes, his voice breaking as the words fell out. "I'm Claire." The room tilted, his heart pounding so violently he thought it might burst. Emma exhaled slowly, a smile tugging at her lips. There. That wasn't so hard, was it? Daniel's legs wobbled. It felt like the ground beneath him was gone. The name clung to him, wrapped around him like the stockings hugging his legs, impossible to peel away. Emma studied him for another long moment before stepping back, finally giving him a little space. But her smile lingered. You know, I think we're just getting started. Daniel's blood ran cold. Because for the first time, he realized Emma wasn't going to let this go. The room was quiet again, but the silence felt charged, like static before a storm. Daniel, no, Claire, stood frozen, every nerve alight under Emma's gaze. The name still echoed in his head, reverberating through his chest like a confession he couldn't take back. Emma tapped her chin thoughtfully, that sly smile never fading. You know, Claire, you're wasted just standing in here. Daniel's stomach sank. What do you mean? Her eyes gleamed. Clothes like that, they're meant to be seen. A bolt of panic shot through him.
No.
Emma, I can't. She stepped closer, placing a finger against his lips. Shoo. Her touch was soft, but her eyes were sharp. You've already gone this far. Why stop now? His breath came fast, shallow. The idea of anyone else seeing him like this made his skin crawl with fear. But beneath that fear was a pulse of something darker, something thrilling. Emma tilted her head toward the door.
Go on.
Just step into the hallway. Nobody's out there. Just me watching. His knees locked. I can't. Yes, you can. Her voice was calm, commanding. One step. That's all. Daniel's heart thundered in his ears. He turned toward the door, legs trembling inside the heels. Every fiber of his body screamed no. But Emma's gaze burned into his back, and he knew he couldn't refuse her. Not now. His hand reached for the doorknob, slick with sweat. He twisted it slowly. The door creaked open, and the hallway yawned before him, dim and silent. One step. The heel clicked against the wooden floor outside the room. His breath caught. He was outside. Exposed. Emma's voice was a whisper behind him. Good girl. The praise hit him like a drug. His body shivered. He hated it. He loved it. Another step. The skirt swayed softly against his thighs, and for a terrifying, dizzying moment, Daniel wasn't Daniel anymore. He was Claire, walking as though she belonged there. Then,
A sound.
both froze. A knock at the front door. 3 sharp raps, echoing through the house. Daniel's blood turned to ice. His head whipped toward Emma, eyes wide with terror. Who is that? He whispered, panic cracking his voice. Emma didn't answer right away. Her smile had returned, softer this time, but no less dangerous. She reached for her phone on the nightstand, raising it casually. The camera clicked. Daniel's stomach dropped. Did you just? Emma lowered the phone, her eyes locking with his. Insurance, she said simply. The knock came again, louder this time. Whoever it was wasn't leaving. Daniel's whole body trembled. The dress clung to him, the heels felt like shackles, and his reflection in the hallway mirror mocked him with a face he barely recognized. Another knock. Emma's voice was calm, steady, and terrifyingly certain. Well, Claire, looks like it's showtime. Daniel's world tilted, spinning out of control. He didn't know if he wanted to run, to scream, or to obey. And then, the doorknob at the front door began to turn. The story cut to black.